My name is Genevieve Stewart. I'm 32 years old, and for most of my life, I was raised in the shadow of someone who could never eat what I cooked, yet somehow always devoured everything when no one was watching. My older sister, Alicia Stewart, learned her greatest trick when she was 12. It happened at a neighborhood pool party in suburban Atlanta, the kind where folding tables sag under store-bought casseroles and adults pretend not to gossip while kids drip chlorine onto the concrete. Mrs. Henderson brought her famous red velvet cake. Everyone wanted a slice. Alicia took one look at it, wrinkled her nose, and announced, loud enough for all the parents to hear, that she was allergic to red food coloring. Within minutes, chaos turned into accommodation. Someone ran to the kitchen. Lemon bars appeared just for her. Adults hovered, kids stared. Alicia sat there, swinging her legs, basking in attention like it was sunlight. I remember thinking it was unfair. I didn't realize it was the beginning of a lifelong performance. By high school, Alicia carried a laminated list of 42 allergies in her designer purse. Gluten, dairy, shellfish, almonds, eggs, tomatoes, artificial sweeteners, MSG. She memorized symptoms the way other girls memorize song lyrics. Hives for strawberries, throat closing for peanuts, intestinal bleeding for wheat. She was flawless. Our parents believed every word. My father, successful, exhausted, eager to fix things, would drive to 3 different Whole Foods locations to find Alicia's safe alternatives. My mother, a local PTA queen, became obsessed with ingredient labels, spending hours researching whatever Alicia claimed would kill her that week. And me? I watched Alicia at 2 a.m, barefoot in our granite kitchen, demolishing leftover pepperoni pizza. The same pizza that would supposedly send her to the ER if she touched it at dinner. The same pepperoni that made her break out in deadly hives vanished, slice by slice, while she scrolled through her phone, grease shining on her fingers. When I got accepted into the Culinary Institute of Charleston, Alicia's allergies evolved. Suddenly, cooking oils were life-threatening. She'd drift past the kitchen, clutch her chest, and collapse dramatically onto the hardwood floors, gasping like a dying fish. "Genevieve," she'd whisper, "please, the olive oil." My mother panicked. For Alicia's safety, I was banished to the garage. While my classmates practiced sauces in professional kitchens, I julienned carrots beside my dad's BMW, inhaling exhaust fumes and swatting mosquitoes. I cooked next to lawnmowers and paint cans, trying not to cry into my stock pots. But I had dreams bigger than Alicia's lies. I wanted a restaurant. I wanted food that told stories. Food that brought people together instead of tearing them apart. Every night, I sketched menus and floor plans, imagining the day my dishes would be served to strangers who chose them, not avoided them. Alicia noticed. Every time I mastered a new recipe, she discovered a new allergy. French onion soup? Suddenly allergic to onions. Chocolate souffle? Cocoa became her mortal enemy. She wasn't just avoiding food. She was erasing my joy. What I didn't know, what none of us knew, was that Alicia's greatest performance was still ahead of her, and it would nearly destroy everything I'd worked for. But while she faked fear of food, there was one terror she could never control. One fear so real, it would eventually become her downfall. I just didn't know yet how close I was to finding it. The day I opened my food truck was supposed to be the first day of the rest of my life. I named it Genevieve's Garden because I wanted the food to feel alive, fresh, intentional, grown with care instead of fear. For 3 years, I saved every dollar I could scrape together. Tips from my part-time job at Cafe Luna, cash from catering small birthdays and engagement parties. I skipped vacations, sold furniture, and wore the same pair of kitchen shoes until the soles peeled apart. Every sacrifice went into that shiny silver Airstream trailer. I converted it myself, learning electrical wiring from YouTube videos and burning my fingers more times than I could count. Inside was a wood-fired pizza oven, stainless steel prep counters, and a soft-serve machine I bought secondhand and rebuilt piece by piece. It wasn't flashy, but it was mine. Opening day was a Tuesday at lunch on Peachtree Street. Downtown Atlanta office workers lined up around the block. The smell of caramelized onions and fresh herbs drifted into the street. Orders flew in faster than I could call them out. Truffle mac and cheese, Korean barbecue tacos, my grandmother's peach cobbler. The register wouldn't stop ringing. I remember thinking, this is it. I made it. Then I saw Alicia. She strutted toward the truck like she owned the sidewalk. Lululemon leggings, oversized sunglasses, phone already held up at the perfect angle. She waved as if we were close, as if she hadn't spent years sabotaging everything I loved. "I'm so proud of you," she said loudly for the benefit of her camera. "Supporting local businesses, family businesses." I forced a smile. She ordered a garden salad, mixed greens, cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, olive oil and vinegar, the safest thing on my menu. I watched her take the container with exaggerated care, as if it might explode in her hands. She took one bite, chewed slowly, maintained eye contact. Then she screamed. Alicia threw herself onto the asphalt like she'd been shot. She rolled, clutching her throat, face contorting in practiced agony. "She poisoned me," she cried. "My sister tried to kill me. She put gluten in my food." Phones came out immediately. People gasped. Someone shouted for help. I froze. I watched the crowd swallow my dream whole. Paramedics arrived within minutes. Alicia's face was red and puffy. Later, I'd learned she'd been pinching herself in the bathroom mirror before walking over. She writhed on the stretcher, pointing at my truck with trembling fingers. "She knows my allergies," she whispered hoarsely. "She wants me dead." The photos went viral before the ambulance left. By nightfall, hashtags trended locally. # sister toxic, # food truck poisoner, # family betrayal. My Yelp page turned into a battlefield. 1-star reviews poured in from people who'd never tasted a single bite. Genevieve tried to murder her own sister. Disgusting human being. Don't eat here unless you want to die. The health department arrived the next morning. They shut me down for a full investigation. 7 days. During my opening week, I watched other food trucks rake in profits while mine sat sealed in a storage lot, electricity humming uselessly. Thousands of dollars in fresh ingredients rotted in my refrigerators. My phone stayed silent, except for notifications telling me how horrible I was. When the investigation cleared me, finding nothing wrong with my food or preparation, it didn't matter. The damage was done. Crowds avoided my truck like I was serving poison. I barely covered my payments that month. Some nights I sat alone inside the trailer, lights off, staring at stainless steel that no one would touch. But I didn't quit. I adapted. If Alicia wanted to destroy me with lies, I'd stop reacting and start watching. I began documenting everything. Dates, times, her claimed reactions versus what she actually ate. I installed a hidden camera in our parents' kitchen and caught her demolishing a full pepperoni pizza at midnight. 6 months later, I tried again. This time, I opened a real restaurant. I needed control. Walls, cameras, witnesses. I found a cozy corner building in Virginia Highland, exposed brick, 60 seats, an open kitchen that left no room for manipulation. I named it Magnolia and Sage. The night before the soft opening, Alicia called. "I'm so proud of you, Genevieve," she purred. "I wouldn't miss your big night for the world." That's when I knew she was planning something worse. The soft opening was perfect, until it wasn't. Food critics filled the room. Investors sipped wine. Influencers snapped photos beneath Edison bulb chandeliers. The kitchen moved like a ballet. Then Alicia arrived. She wore a flowing maxi dress and carried her emergency medical bag, a designer purse stuffed with fake EpiPens and antihistamines. On her arm was her boyfriend Derek, a wannabe influencer who never stopped filming. They sat at table 12, center of the room. She made a production of listing her allergies to the server. No shellfish, no gluten, no dairy, no nuts, no nightshades. I sent her grilled salmon with steamed vegetables and rice. She ate half of it, smiled, laughed, posed for Derek's stories. Then she saw him, a food critic from Food and Wine, sitting 3 tables away. Alicia reached across the table and touched a shrimp from Derek's pasta, just once. Then she collapsed. The gasping echoed through the restaurant. "I can't breathe," she wheezed. "She put shrimp in my food." Derek filmed everything while pretending to help. Someone called 911. Diners backed away in horror. 8 minutes. That's how long it took for my future to collapse. By morning, the health department shut me down, this time for immediate closure. The story hit every news station. Investors pulled out. The landlord terminated my lease. 3 years of planning vanished overnight. But Alicia made a mistake. Derek had filmed everything, including her grabbing the shrimp on purpose. I finally had proof. I just didn't know yet how much more she was going to steal from me before I could use it. The morning after Magnolia and Sage was shut down, I woke up on my apartment couch with my phone clutched in my hand and 57 unread notifications blinking on the screen. I didn't need to open them to know what they said. My name was everywhere, and not in the way chefs dream of. Sister poisons sibling at restaurant opening. Family feud turns violent. Local chef accused of attempted murder. Again. That word hollowed me out. I stared at the ceiling, listening to the refrigerator hum, wondering how many lives one person could destroy before it finally caught up with them. Alicia had managed to erase my food truck, my restaurant, and my credibility before I turned 33. And she was still smiling on Instagram. I didn't leave the apartment for 3 days. When I finally did, it was only because my bank called to inform me, politely, that my account balance no longer supported optimism. The restaurant's closure fees, canceled supplier contracts, and legal consultations had gutted everything I'd saved. I took a prep cook job at a chain restaurant in Marietta, minimum wage. No name on the menu, no creativity, just chopping onions and reminding myself that I still knew how to hold a knife. 18 months passed like that. 18 months of rebuilding my confidence, carrot by carrot, shift by shift, pretending I wasn't recognized by coworkers who whispered behind my back, pretending I didn't flinch every time someone mentioned allergies. Then Food Network called. It was a Tuesday morning. I was elbow deep in chicken stock when my phone vibrated in my pocket. "Genevieve Stewart?" the woman asked. "Yes. This is Rebecca Martinez from Food Network Productions. We'd like you to audition for a new show, Rising Star Chefs." My knees nearly buckled. Rising Star Chefs was the holy grail. 12 unknown chefs, 1 winner, a cookbook deal, $100,000. Redemption served on primetime television. The audition was set for Thursday. 3 camera tests, 2 cooking challenges, 1 interview. I spent 48 hours perfecting my signature dish, coffee-crusted ribeye with sweet potato puree and bourbon butter sauce. I barely slept. I barely breathed. And I made 1 mistake. I told my parents. They had started to question Alicia after the restaurant disaster. It had been too dramatic, too public, too convenient. My mother finally admitted something felt off. I thought sharing my good news would bring us together. 3 hours before my audition, my phone rang again. Rebecca Martinez. But her voice was different. Cold. "Miss Stewart, we're canceling your audition." My world tilted. "A woman named Alicia Stewart contacted us," she continued. She provided medical records, photographs, and witness statements alleging multiple hospitalizations caused by your negligent food preparation. She's threatening legal action if we feature you. I was standing in the studio parking lot, my lucky chef's coat folded neatly beside a cooler full of ingredients that would never see a camera. "She's lying," I whispered. "I'm sorry," Rebecca said. "We can't take that risk." The call ended. I sat in my car for 2 hours, watching hopeful chefs walk into the building, carrying dreams I'd been robbed of. again. That night, I drove to Alicia's apartment in Buckhead. I didn't plan to confront her. I just needed to see her face, to confirm that she existed, that someone could really be this cruel. She was celebrating by the rooftop pool with Derek, champagne flutes raised. She was eating shrimp scampi from the Italian place downstairs. The same shellfish that supposedly nearly killed her. Something inside me snapped. Not broke. Snapped. Alicia had one real fear. I discovered it when she was 8 and I was 10, exploring an abandoned Victorian house at the end of our street. She'd walked straight into a massive spider web and screamed like her soul was leaving her body. For 20 years, I'd protected that secret. Not anymore. I planned everything with surgical precision. 3 weeks of documenting what Alicia actually ate versus what she claimed would kill her. Cameras, receipts, footage of her devouring cheeseburgers, pad thai with peanuts, bacon-loaded breakfasts. But documentation wasn't enough. I needed exposure. I called Tommy Briggs, an old classmate who now dealt in exotic pets. One phone call later, I had everything I needed. Alicia still had a spare key to my apartment. I spent a Saturday afternoon transforming my bedroom into a spider habitat. Behind the headboard, under the dresser, inside closet corners. I fed them, let them settle. Then I texted her. "I'm catering in Savannah this weekend. Can you water my plants?" She replied immediately. "Of course. What are sisters for?" I set up cameras in every room and drove to a hotel across town. Saturday night, my phone exploded. Missed calls, texts. "Genevieve, something's wrong. Call me now. There are spiders everywhere." I didn't answer. Sunday morning, I returned to my apartment complex to find police cars, an ambulance, and animal control outside my building. Alicia had barricaded herself in my bathroom, hysterical. Paramedics sedated her. Animal control removed over 30 exotic spiders. She was placed on a psychiatric hold. The footage I'd captured was damning. Her confident entrance, her snooping, her scream when she saw the first web. The video went viral. So did the truth. #FakeAllergy trended nationwide. Derek dumped her publicly. Her landlord evicted her. Our parents finally hired a specialist. The tests came back clean. No allergies. None. 3 months later, I signed a cookbook deal. Last week, I opened my new restaurant, and Alicia stood outside the window, watching. She mouthed, "I'm sorry." I mouthed back. Too late. Some lies don't just hurt, they destroy. I didn't tell anyone when Food Network called the second time. Not my parents, not coworkers, not even myself really. Not in a way that allowed hope to settle. I treated it like a fragile dish I didn't dare touch too hard. The voicemail came on a Thursday evening while I was closing down the prep station at the Marietta chain restaurant. Stainless steel wiped clean. Knives washed and lined up. Another day survived. "Genevieve Stewart," the voice said, calm and professional. "This is Rebecca Martinez from Food Network Productions. We'd like to revisit a previous decision." I stood there, dish towel frozen in my hands. They had reviewed new information. The spider incident, the viral videos, the allergy test results that circulated quietly among industry insiders. Apparently, producers talked. Chefs talked more. They wanted me back in the room. Not for rising star chefs this time. For something smaller, quieter. A pilot episode for a limited series. Honest kitchens. Real chefs, real food, real accountability. No prize money, no guarantees. But it was a door. The audition was set for the following Monday. I took 2 days off work and cooked like my life depended on it. Because in a way, it did. I refined dishes that celebrated simplicity instead of spectacle. I practiced speaking without defensiveness, without bitterness. I learned how to tell my story without sounding like a woman begging to be believed. On Sunday night, I broke my rule. I told my mother. She cried immediately. Not the loud, panicked crying I'd grown up with, but something smaller, heavier, regretful. "We should have listened," she said. "We should have protected you." I didn't know how to respond to that. There was no comfort left to offer. My father took the phone next. "This is your chance," he said. "Don't let her touch it." I promised I wouldn't. 3 hours before my audition, my phone rang. Unknown number. I already knew. "Miss Stewart," Rebecca said. No warmth this time, no preamble. "We've received new material." My stomach dropped. "Alicia Stewart contacted us this morning," she continued. "She submitted a cease and desist notice, along with medical documentation, alleging emotional and physical harm caused by you." I closed my eyes. "She claims the spider incident was a targeted psychological attack meant to re-traumatize her. She's threatening legal action if we proceed." I leaned against my car in the studio parking lot, the Atlanta heat pressing down on my shoulders like judgment. "She's lying," I said quietly. "You know she is." Rebecca sighed. "We can't verify intent, and we can't risk litigation on a pilot." The line went dead. Again. I sat there long after the audition time passed, watched the building empty out, listened to the echo of what could have been. That night, I didn't cry. I drove. I drove to Buckhead, parked across from Alicia's building, and watched her celebrate again. She was on the rooftop with a small group of friends this time. New ones. Temporary ones. She was laughing too loudly, clinking glasses, performing resilience for an audience she hadn't yet lost. She was eating everything. Shrimp, bread, cheese. The same foods she'd used to dismantle my life. That was when I knew something fundamental had changed. I wasn't angry anymore. I was finished protecting her. I went home and opened the folder I'd kept hidden for months. Inside were years of evidence, timestamps, videos, receipts, medical inconsistencies, patterns only someone who had lived beside her lies could recognize. And one memory, a single vivid truth she could never fake. Alicia's fear of spiders. I hadn't chosen it out of cruelty. I'd chosen it because it was the only fear she'd never weaponized, never monetized, never controlled. The fallout was immediate. Derek found the hidden footage I'd accidentally left accessible. Videos of Alicia eating everything she claimed would kill her. He posted one out of spite, maybe hurt pride, maybe relief at finally understanding who she was dating. The internet did the rest. The narrative shifted. Food bloggers wrote think pieces. Servers shared stories. Allergy advocates demanded accountability. Alicia tried to pivot, posted tearful videos about trauma, manipulation, recovery, but something was different now. No one rushed to save her. Our parents hired an allergist at Emory, Dr. Patricia Wong, to finally settle the question they'd avoided for decades. The tests were exhaustive: blood work, skin pricks, elimination diets. The results were definitive. Alicia had no food allergies, not one. My mother called me the night the results came in. "I don't know how we missed this," she whispered. "I don't know how we let her hurt you." I didn't answer right away, because the truth was, we hadn't missed it. We'd ignored it. 3 months later, my phone rang again. Food Network. This time, they didn't apologize. They offered a contract, a show about honest cooking, about rebuilding trust, about consequences. The papers sat on my desk, waiting. Outside, my restaurant sign flickered to life for the first time. And somewhere across the city, my sister was learning what it felt like to be unseen. Alicia was released from Grady Hospital on a Thursday afternoon. 72 hours under psychiatric evaluation does something to a person, especially someone who has spent her entire life performing distress instead of actually feeling it. When she walked out of those doors, she didn't have a camera in her hand. No mascara-streaked Instagram story. No trembling monologue about survival. She had a paper bag with her belongings and nowhere to go. Derek had already blocked her. He didn't call, didn't text, didn't defend her online when the comments turned vicious. He simply disappeared, leaving behind the pizza video he'd accidentally unleashed on the world. That clip was everywhere. Alicia, in sweatpants, cross-legged on the couch, devouring pepperoni pizza while laughing at something off camera. The caption Derek posted was short and brutal. 3 years of lies. Turns out the only thing she's allergic to is the truth. It racked up 2 million views in 48 hours. Then came the stitches. Servers posted their stories, Chefs stitched in clips of themselves bending over backward for customers who claimed life-threatening allergies, only to watch them eat desserts that would kill them. Parents of children with real anaphylaxis shared rage-filled explanations of why fake allergies put lives at risk. The hashtag shifted. Hashtag fake allergy. Hashtag allergy fraud. Hashtag not a drama. Alicia tried to respond. Her first video was tearful, softly lit, hair pulled back in a way meant to suggest vulnerability. She talked about trauma, about how fear manifests in strange ways, about how she never meant to hurt anyone. The comments ate her alive. You hurt everyone. You ruined real lives for attention. This isn't fear, it's manipulation. She deleted the video within an hour. Our parents didn't rush to her rescue this time. For the first time in our lives, they paused. They watched. They asked questions. My mother found receipts she couldn't explain. Thousands spent on specialty foods, medical equipment, supplements Alicia had insisted were necessary. My father realized Alicia had never actually followed up with specialists after her supposed hospitalizations. No allergist, no long-term treatment plans, just emergencies. Convenient, dramatic emergencies. They hired Dr. Patricia Wong, an allergist at Emory, and scheduled comprehensive testing. Alicia protested at first. Then she panicked. Then she agreed, because refusing would have looked like guilt. The test took 2 weeks. Blood panels, skin prick tests, controlled exposure, monitored diets. I didn't attend. I didn't need to. The results were exactly what I'd known since I was 10 years old, watching her eat pizza at midnight. No allergies. None. Not mild, not moderate, not stress-induced. 0. When my mother called me with the results, her voice broke in a way I'd never heard before. "We failed you," she said. "We chose drama over truth." I didn't tell her it was okay, because it wasn't. Elisa moved back into our parents' basement the following week. No fanfare, no dramatic announcement, just boxes carried down concrete steps she'd mocked for years. She took a part-time job at a Target in Marietta, stocking shelves, folding clothes, living the kind of invisible life she'd spent decades forcing on me. The irony didn't escape anyone. Meanwhile, something unexpected happened. Food Network didn't just call back. They leaned in. The producers told me the truth during our first meeting. My story wasn't inspirational because I'd overcome adversity. It was compelling because it exposed something uncomfortable. Entitlement, manipulation, the damage of performative victimhood. They wanted honesty. So I gave it to them. I signed the contract. The show wouldn't be about forgiveness. It would be about accountability, about food as truth instead of theater, about how lies rot from the inside out. When the press release dropped, Alicia saw it before anyone else could tell her. I know because she texted me for the first time in months. "I never meant to ruin your life." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, "Intent doesn't erase damage." She didn't reply. That night, I locked up my restaurant after closing and stood alone in the dining room, listening to the quiet hum of a space that finally belonged to me. For the first time, Alicia was afraid. Not of spiders, not of food, but of being ordinary, of being seen clearly, of no longer being the center of the story. And that fear, the real one, was something she could never fake her way out of. The contract sat on my desk for 3 days before I signed it, not because I was unsure, but because I wanted to be certain I was choosing this future for myself, not as a reaction to Alicia. For most of my life, my choices had been shaped in opposition to her needs, her lies, her emergencies. I wasn't willing to let my final victory be another response to her chaos. When I finally signed, I did it quietly. No announcement, no champagne, just a pen, my name, and a steady hand. The show premiered 6 months later. Honest Kitchens wasn't flashy. No countdown clocks, no screaming judges, no manufactured rivalries. It followed chefs rebuilding trust, cooking plainly, explaining ingredients clearly, taking real allergies seriously and calling out the harm of fake ones without spectacle. The response surprised everyone. Viewers didn't want drama, they wanted truth. The network greenlit a full season before the pilot finished airing. That same week, I opened my new restaurant. Honest Kitchen sat on a quiet street, not downtown, not trendy. Exposed brick, open shelves, warm light. The menu was radical in its simplicity. Every ingredient listed, every substitution explained. No performance required. 10% of profits went to food allergy research. Opening night was fully booked. I stood in the kitchen, watching plates go out, listening to laughter instead of gasps. For the first time, my food wasn't a battleground. It was what it had always been meant to be, an offering. Through the front window, I saw Alicia. She stood across the street, phone in hand, hesitating. She didn't cross. She didn't come inside. She just watched. She looked smaller somehow. Not physically, just deflated, like a balloon losing air. The confidence that once carried her through lies and performances was gone, replaced by something awkward and human. She caught me looking. Her lips moved. "I'm sorry." I didn't respond. Some apologies arrived too late to matter. She turned and walked away. I haven't seen her since. Our parents come every Sunday. They bring friends. Order everything. Tip generously. My mother says it's penance. My father says it's pride. I let them believe both. I've forgiven them, not because they deserve it, but because carrying that anger would only keep Alicia's shadow alive. Families are complicated. Manipulators are often best at deceiving the people who love them most. But Alicia, I haven't forgiven her, and I probably never will. She didn't just lie about food allergies. She stole years of my life, destroyed my reputation, nearly erased my future. Some things can't be undone with therapy hashtags and vague apologies. She posts occasionally about her recovery journey, about learning who she is without fear. The comments are brutal. The internet doesn't forget. And it doesn't forgive people who fake suffering while harming others. Last I heard, she still lives in our parents' basement. Works part-time. Orders DoorDash nightly from restaurants she once terrorized with fake emergencies. Meanwhile, my restaurant has a 6-week wait list. Food Network called again last month. This time, they didn't ask. They offered me my own show. The contract is on my desk. Sometimes late at night, when the kitchen is clean and the world is quiet, I wonder if I went too far with the spiders. If there was a gentler way to expose her lies. Then I remember the Food Network parking lot, the garage cooking, the food truck sealed behind caution tape, the humiliation of being called a poisoner by my own sister. Alicia taught me something I wish I'd never had to learn, that sometimes truth isn't enough. Sometimes you have to strip away the costume and force a liar to face something real. She said everything I cooked would kill her. In the end, I cooked up something that killed her credibility instead.